afternoon, everybody. So this is Jyoti Chawla, yet back again with the Indo-Indians Extraordinary Women's Award. That's a platform to promote the positive impact women make on society, to recognize, honor, celebrate, and bring greater visibility to women's achievements in various fields. This award encourages ambition, empowers confidence, and inspires new female leaders now and into the future. This has been an incredible journey of formally recognizing so many wonderful and intelligent Indian women living in Indonesia that have made an extraordinary impact in this part of the world in diverse fields of expertise. And today we are here to celebrate the Indo-Indians Extraordinary Woman Awardee for Environment, which is Rita Srivastav. So Rita identifies herself as an environmentalist, as a naturalist, and as a proponent of simple living. Wasteful consumption, air and water pollution, indiscriminate use and disposal of plastics, poor garbage separation and disposal, landfills are just some of the problems she dedicates herself towards. Professionally, she started out as a tea taster in Kolkata for years. And then let's find out from her what her journey is all about. So welcome, Rita, and heartiest congratulations for the great work that you do and inspire so many.
Thank you. I am honored. I'm humbled. I'm appreciative. Thank you so much.
So Rita, can you please introduce yourself to the audience? Because this is a global platform. A lot of people all over the world are listening to you. Yes, I do understand people in Indonesia know you more and they know your work, but let's talk about you.
Basically, I think all of us see all around us today the kind of environmental degradation that is slowly but steadily happening, whether it's air, whether it's water, whether it's lack of clean air, lack of clean water, or misuse of the air and water that we have. And if any one of us really looks around us, we will find so many things that stare up at you and tell you that, you know, this is not right, this is not correct, this is not sustainable. And oftentimes we feel that, you know, what can I do? I mean, I feel that this is wrong, but what can I do? I'm just one single person. How much can I do?
Yes.
But if each one of us thinks that, yes, this is wrong and I should try and do something about it, then together it makes a tiny difference, but it's a start. And I mean, all of us cannot be Greta Thunberg, the way how she started just by herself in front of her school, and today she's a global name. But everything starts small.
Right.
And if we are really aware and if we feel that, yeah, this, the way we are going on in this is not right and we should try and improve it, yeah, we can do something about it. Each one of us, if we just think that, okay, I can't change the world, but I can change what I see in front of me.
Right.
If I can see there's something that is environmentally not good happening in front of me, I will definitely try and change that, rectify that. And maybe seeing me, somebody else might also feel that, oh yeah, that's a good thing to do. If she can do it, maybe I can also try it in my home. And that's how it spreads. And literally, I also started it just in my home. And then my neighbors around me saw it and they wanted to know what it was all about. And I told them. And then slowly, it kind of is growing very slowly, because changing people's mindset is a very, very long process.
Right.
But I know that there are so many of us who feel so strongly about it, but we just feel, what can I do?
Yeah.
But we should never feel that way, because we can all do one little thing and that it all adds up.
Yeah, you're right. So what was that one particular moment or one particular thing that inspired you and, you know, motivated? As you rightly said, we all have that thought and we're like, who's going to do? And, you know, we're kind of laid back about it. So what was that trigger point that inspired you?
Actually, what inspired me, I had gone, my daughter was in JIS. So JIS was doing an activity with the children at Bantar Gebang, which is the largest landfill in Jakarta.
Okay.
It's in Bekasi. It is on the outskirts of Jakarta.
Okay.
And it's a huge open air garbage dump. And basically, I read somewhere that an area equal to about 5 football fields
Wow.
is added to that every week by way of extra garbage, new garbage.
Oh my God, that's humongous.
And it's humongous. And there are whole villages who live there, who pick the garbage over there, and whose children are also there. And the stench is unbelievable. There's dirty water everywhere. I mean, I've made a couple of visits there, and I was like absolutely shocked beyond belief that we are all contributing to this.
Correct.
And unless each one of us thinks that I can make a difference, nothing is going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's where I started thinking about a household is the simplest place,
Correct.
the easiest place where we can, we have an eye on our garbage. We can see our garbage.
Yeah.
We can see what's going into it. We can make sure that it's easier to separate there than it is to separate in a landfill, which is 50 football fields big.
Yes.
So in my own house, if I can separate the kitchen garbage, the plastic and the inorganic,
Yeah.
All it means is just 3 bins.
Yeah.
And then I spoke to the garbage guy, the garbage truck that used to come to collect garbage from our street. And I told him that if I separate it and give it to you, will you still mix it in your truck? He said, no, of course not. If you give it to me separated, I will take it separated.
Wonderful.
And so then I spoke to all the people in my lane and I said, look, if you separate the garbage, they will separate it. They will not mix it all up together.
Yeah.
They will also take it in the separated form. So can you do it? So initially they were like, oh, I'm sure not. But then slowly we found that yes, they were actually carrying the plastic separately and the organic separately and the inorganic separately. And they said, actually, this makes it much easier for us.
Yes.
If you separate it and give it to us, then it's much easier for us.
Correct.
So then we started in our lane. Then I spoke to my ERTE and I said, can you do this in your whole, all the houses which are in your ERTE? Can you please talk to them in Indonesian? I can't communicate that well. And tell them about this. And then so it seems that slowly it is spreading. And yeah, so then that's what inspired me that, we can make a difference. Each one of us can make a difference, even if we feel that we are too insignificant. Correct. So, I mean, I think this is a great platform. If my talking to you here spreads this message to more people,
yes,
that would be absolutely fabulous.
Absolutely. Imagine something as small as separating wet, dry garbage.
That's it.
As simple as that can make such a big difference. Okay, great. That's really amazing. I also would like you to share, you've been making your detergents, your fresheners. Can you share some simple tips for people to be eco-friendly? A lot of times there is a will to do things, but we don't know what to do. We want to contribute. We are kind of aware, but we don't have the time or the inclination to read and find out how can we contribute. So give us basic tips for anybody and everybody, whether it's Indonesia or globally, to just do them at home and easily done.
Yeah. I think if you're talking about the home, which I can talk about the home.
Correct.
So one of the basic things is we get a lot of plastic bottles that come to our houses.
Yeah.
Whether it's plastic pouches, plastic bottles, whether it's cleaners, whether it's cosmetics, whether it's foodstuffs, whether it's liquids, milk, blah, 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 all those kind of things. Some of it, how I started making natural products myself was because I wanted to reduce the amount of plastic bottles that I was generating.
Yeah.
So now I've reached a point where other than my toilet cleaner, which I haven't found a good natural substitute for, that's the only plastic bottle that comes into my house, is the toilet cleaner. And everything else I make myself, or I have natural remedies, natural products that you can use, which doesn't need any plastic bottles, any packaging of sorts.
Yeah.
And one little thing I would say is whatever plastic bottles that come to your house, once you're done with them, they are empty. Just wash them out, wash them and give them to your garbage man or wherever your garbage goes. Tell them this bottle is clean. If it's dirty, then it's of no use to them. Tell them it's clean and give it to them separately from all your other trash. They will know how to recycle it. They will sell it back to the manufacturer. They will give it back to the Pamulans. It will be recycled. For sure, it will be recycled. But if you mix it with your kitchen garbage and 50 other things, it'll just go to a landfill.
So are you saying, unlike most of us have this impression that the tin cans and the plastic bottles should be squashed and thrown?
No, if you're squashing and throwing, you can squash it and throw it. But I would say it's better if you wash it and give it as it is.
Okay.
Because once it's washed, immediately there's no bacteria. I mean, it will not cause bacteria. And it's much easier to move on to the next, whoever is going to be the next person who buys it or who recycles it or whatever. And in my home, it's much easier for me to clean 5 plastic bottles than for the trash man who receives 500 bottles. He doesn't know what to do.
That makes a difference.
Just wash your whatever plastic bottles come to your house, wash it, put it in a separate thing and give it to your garbage man and say, these are all clean bottles. Please recycle them. And for sure, he will recycle them because he can sell it and get money. So he will do it.
Great, great. That's one of the things. Anything else that we can do sitting at home?
Yeah, another great thing is, of course, taps. These are all very simple things. Check leaking taps in your house. See the temperature in your air conditioner. You don't need to have it at 21 degrees if you're going to use a thick blanket every night. You can make it 23 degrees and have a thin sheet on you. That's equally good. And yeah, the rest is all very basic stuff. Save electricity. Don't keep things on if you're not using them. Clothes, oh my God.
Don't hoard.
We don't need to that, yes. Especially the pandemic has made us realize, most of us, that we have more clothes than we need.
Yes, absolutely correct.
More bags, more shoes, more clothes than we need. So if we can just go slow or reduce our retail therapy for a bit,
yes,
it will make a huge difference to the environment. It will make no difference to us. Your bank accounts will look much healthier.
yes.
And yeah, I mean, we all have enough clothes. I mean, I realize that I wear the same outfits in the house every day.
Correct.
And when I go out, once or twice I go out, we have enough clothes for that.
Yes. I think the pandemic has been a great teacher for that, for sure. That we're hoarding a lot more.
If we remember once things are over, once this passes,
yes,
that we really do have more than enough.
Yeah. Yes. So Rita, if I was to ask, what is the one rule that you follow through your life with regards to environment that you have been consciously following it up? Is there something that you consciously follow?
Yeah, I think plastics. My big bugbear is plastics.
Okay.
I am doing a lot of research into it as to, the different kinds of plastics, which are recyclable, which are not recyclable, which can. So I think for me personally, and especially because I saw this movie called Plastic Ocean, if anybody ever gets a chance to see it on YouTube, it's the story of the sea of garbage, which is in the Pacific Ocean. And if you see it, it will really make you aware of how degraded our environment really has become. So for me, I mean, that's the one thing that I'm 1000% conscious of. Everybody around me also knows. Like plastic, oh my God, yeah, please be careful. Anything plastic, she's going to get mad if she sees that, we are using plastic. I mean, plastic is indispensable. There's no two ways about it. We do need it in our lives. But all we need to do is just be conscious that after I finish using it, let me do something worthwhile with it rather than just throwing it in the garbage.
Or use a biodegradable. There's a very good quality of biodegradable plastic.
Absolutely. And actually now, when supermarkets have stopped giving us plastic packets, we are doing fine.
Yeah,
we are managing fine.
Yes.
We've got shopping bags. We are managing fine. So if that is so, then no solution, no problem is insurmountable. We thought we could never live without plastic bags.
Like in India, it's very, very clear. You have no grocery coming in any plastic bag. It's cloth bags or paper bags. And I personally feel we need to get rid of paper bags because we're cutting down as many number of
trees. And a cloth bag, wash it, reuse it. And I mean, all you have to do is just make sure there's one in your bag all the time. And that if we walk out with our mobile phone, surely we can remember to put a bag in our handbag.
Or at least I see in India, whatever little time that has been around, the people are actually only using that, or you just have to carry it. So even if you go to a big grocery store, you've got to carry it straight like this to your car, or you carry your bag.
Yes,
there isn't any other option.
And it was easy. I mean, the switchover happened.
Absolutely, it's possible.
So if we put our minds to it, we can do anything.
So what is the next target in the future? What is the next project that you have in mind that you want to achieve? So you want to talk to us about two things. First of all, just talk to us about the products that you make, because only people in Indonesia know what you make. Let everybody know what you make.
Yeah.
And
so basically,
what is the next after this?
That's a good question. That I have to think. Because I just go with the flow. One thing just flows into another and it just goes. I don't think about it because I overthink when I was younger, and then I realized that it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think you just go with the flow and whatever happens, happens. I just adjust and I don't have a plan for the future. I'm sorry, that's the truth.
No worries.
I don't have a plan.
What you make? What are the different products that you started to make for yourself? And actually, you've shared the recipes and which are there on Indo-Indians, and you've held workshops for people who don't know about this. Yes. So she is going to talk to us about the products that she makes, which are home-produced products, easily done. The recipes are there, and people in Jakarta can ask for a workshop from Rita anytime. So please do share that, Rita.
Yes, I would be delighted. Actually, the first thing I did was I made a deodorant. Yeah. I was with my daughter in UK and she said, Ma, any deodorant that I use, I get a rash and I get some kind of a reaction and I can't use a deodorant. I said, okay, let me see. I'm sure there's something natural that I can do where you don't have to use this. So that's how I made a natural deo. And she said, oh, Ma, this is fabulous. It smells great. My rash is gone. So I said, okay, if that's so, then I'm sure I can find a lot of other natural substitutes for the chemical-laden products that we use. So then one thing led to another. From the detergent, from the deo, it was a detergent because I saw somebody making a natural detergent and selling it at some ridiculous amount. And I said, if the natural product is going to cost 3 times the chemical product, why would anybody buy it? It has to be comparable. It should not hurt my pocket and it should not hurt the environment either. So then I found a way of making a natural detergent which was cheaper than the chemical detergent. So then, I said, okay, let me make the detergent. And then one thing led to another. Then I said, okay, since I'm making this, let me see. At that time, COVID had started. So then I said, okay, let me see if I can make a natural sanitizer. And then it was, I have a lot of, I have so many mosquitoes in my garden. Anytime I go out into the garden, even in the middle of the afternoon, I'm bitten to death. So I said, okay, let me see if I can make a natural bug spray. So one by one, they started like that. And then another friend of mine told me, she said, Rita, I have a lot of patches on my face and nothing seems to be working. And I don't know what to do. I said, okay, let me see if there's some natural way. And then I found something. Wow. And then I gave it to her. And then she said, yeah, it's working. I said, well, you've just used it for a month. She said, no, in a month, I'm noticing that it's looking better. So I said, okay, great. So then it was just one thing flowing into another. So now there's a day cream. There's a natural day cream. There's a natural night cream. There's a natural face scrub. There's a deodorant. There's a detergent. There's a bug spray. There's a sanitizer, there's a vegan lip balm, and I'm working on a couple of other things. So let's see.
Please, you have close to 10 products that you've already
got but on the shelf. My thing is, I'm not a marketer. I'm a producer, or I have ideas, but I'm not a great marketer. But it's okay. I mean, I'm not doing it to become the next Unilever or whatever. Yeah. So it's just people come to know of it, they try it out, they like it, they recommend it to their friends, and yeah, that's how it goes.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think that's a great, great thing that you've done. And a lot has come to you in the last decade, which is, like that's a big growth spurt for yourself. So you don't know what you're producing next, but you're working on some projects. Okay, we are all looking forward to that. So now, as an Indo-Indians Extraordinary Women's Awardee for, being an environmentalist, how does it feel? And do you think this is going to add some substance to, and how is it going to go forward with what you're doing?
I think it is an amazing platform.
Okay.
I am so grateful and I am so delighted because Indo-Indians has a reach which I as an individual cannot reach.
Correct.
And I would be absolutely thrilled and delighted if through Indo-Indians, people could approach me with problems, with requests, I can do workshops, I can do talks, I can do demonstrations, I can take people around and show them what we are doing and kind of convince people. The main thing is to just try and not change, but work on people's mindsets.
Yes.
That we can all make a difference, and Indo-Indians is a big platform. So I think this is fantastic for me, not for just for me personally, but for this whole field.
Yes.
Whatever fields you have chosen, whether it's business or environment or culture or media or whatever. I mean, this is a fantastic opening. This is a fantastic exposure for all of us to spread our knowledge and awareness.
Absolutely. I think Indo-Indians gives you the platform of a bigger reach.
Absolutely.
Because, what you're doing is commendable. For sure, it is commendable. Not many people think beyond themselves. So that's really commendable that you've gone out and done a lot more to, help uplift a lot of people and things around. However, Indo-Indians gives you a platform to have a bigger reach. And I hope you have many more helping hands joining in. My last question would be, Rita, who has been the support system? They have equal credits, to build this thing where you have reached today. Indo-Indians is a platform which comes a little later in your life. So which has been your backbone so far?
My children, always. They have been so appreciative of every little thing that I have done. And they have cheered me on in a way which was truly inspiring.
Lovely. Beautiful. See,
really, I mean, to me, because to me it was like, what am I doing? Nothing great. But they would say, no, Ma, it's fantastic what you're doing, and we are really proud and we are really happy, and please keep doing it. And that really made a big difference.
Wow, that's lovely. That's very, very nice, because years ago when they were small, you were doing the same for them, and now they're doing that. So it's really, really very nice. And it's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Rita. And, your vast knowledge about things and your research speaks, and it shows in what you're doing. The fact that you're able to step beyond your requirements and do so much, and also share. A lot of times we do things and we want to be accoladed and we are not willing to share, but you're here, you're ready to share your skills. You want more people to become aware, and that's really, really appreciative. And I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. And congratulations once again. And for everybody else, please share your comments and feedbacks on Indo-Indians Extraordinary Women Awards. Follow them back on the Facebook and Instagram at Indo-Indians, and do visit the Indoindians.com website, which is Indonesia's #1 digital portal, a way to connect, support, and engage the Indian diaspora in Indonesia, as well as people now globally. So please go ahead and stay tuned to them. And thank you very much. And congratulations once again. Looking forward to all your products. Please do share how people would like to learn and buy from.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Jyoti.